Greetings from the one who is, the one who was, and the one who is to come. Viewers all over the world, you can see the spirits moving across the nations and the world at large. Indeed, his word remains with those who are faithful before him. On the 8th of April 2024, the man of God, Prophet Favor Ethiel, gave a prophetic word to the world, saying, he saw water covering the earth. These are the angels of judgment. These angels will shock the earth with great power and anointing. Viewers, this means revival after the great shock. Let us listen to what the man of God said and his fulfillment.
Viewers, again, the Lord told me that the turbulences has not stopped. I saw flood above flood. This is not African nations alone, but this is like the Europe, America should wait for this flood. Many nations too should wait for this flood. Jamaica, wait for yours. I saw flood covering the surface of the earth. I saw flood, and this is the judgment angel. Amaziah has come down, and they have knocked the four cardinal points of the earth. They shall shook the earth with great power and anointing. And listen to me. And the Lord told me that the atmospheric angels will continue to land on earth like lightning. Many shall come also like lightning. Drought shall burst upon the surface of the earth.
Abu Dhabi and Dubai once again encountered heavy rain and thunderstorms early on Thursday, catching residents by surprise. The strong winds and lightning struck Dubai around 3 a.m. in the morning, earlier than anticipated by the weather forecasts. An unstable amber alert is now issued across the country once again by the Meteorological Office around 4 a.m., signaling widespread rain clouds. The onset of heavy rains was first reported in Al Dhafra and Al Sila areas of Abu Dhabi close to midnight by 1:30 a.m. Moderate to heavy rains hit the western islands of Abu Dhabi, accompanied by small hailstones in some locals. Concurrently, moderate rainfall, lightning and thunderstorm rattled Mohammed bin Zayed City and Al Shawamik. Dubai police issued a safety advisory urging residents to avoid beaches, Sailing Valley and low-lying regions due to the unstable weather conditions. The Emirate was cautioned to brace for weather fluctuations in the ensuing hours, as reported by the local media.
Continues to threaten the community near River Road in Channelview. Residents say the levels dropped a foot overnight, but new rainfall pushed those levels right back up. Just yesterday, the Harris County Rescue Team helped bring people in the area to safety. Katira Winfrey has the story tonight.
This open land is now a body of water, and the people who live here are just about surrounded and fear what a new heavy downpour will mean.
It's very scary. I'm threatened every time this water comes up.
Timothy Douglas's trailer sits on this property at the end of the San Jacinto River. His home is safe now, but he's been keeping watch.
See that's where the water came to.
The water has gone down a little, but across the street on Tim Hill's land, it's still standing. And knowing what heavy weather can mean for these parts, he prepared.
I got everything that was really of any importance of mine out, and most people do. Some people don't have that, they don't have the ability to.
Yeah.
They only have what's on their back, so they stay where they're at.
The constant flow from the dam release and rain swept through this community. Just up the road on Meadowbrook, rescue team Saturday pulled 10 people and their pets from flooded out homes.
Thank God for the rescue unit yesterday, because it was a while before they got here.
Yeah. Hill says most folks know how to handle this and are often willing to risk the flood prediction being off. But this time it was more than they expected. Water damaged some of his tools and a little got into his trailer.
That was the last thing I was going to pull out of here, and it kind of got too wet, and we just had to leave it there. So that's nothing I can't replace. I'm not worried about that.
As for Douglas, he says people around here don't have much, but this is theirs, and it's home.
They're losing a ton of stuff. I mean, some of these people they're really hurt.
Reporting in Channelview, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
Channelview ISD has canceled school tomorrow due to the ongoing flooding in that area.
And moving to Africa, torrential rains and floods have ravaged parts of the continent. Eastern Africa is grappling with a devastating deluge, which has destroyed infrastructure, flooded fields, and impacted livelihoods. At least 200 people have died across Tanzania, Kenya, and Burundi. For a region that is already grappling with the dire effect of climate change, the floods are only going to make the situation worse. Our next report explains the details.
Flooding can be particularly catastrophic for communities. Almost every year, regions of Africa are hit with heavy downpours resulting in floods. These floods, in turn, bring death, destruction, and an outbreak of diseases. In recent days, torrential rains, floods, and landslides have battered towns and cities across eastern Africa, especially in Tanzania, Kenya, and Burundi. At least 200 people have died and dozens have been injured across the three countries. For a region that's already grappling with the dire effects of climate change, the floods are only making it worse. In Tanzania alone, around 155 people have died. It's more than double the number of deaths reported just 2 weeks ago. Incessant rains have affected some 200,000 people and upended the country's infrastructure. Farms, roads, buildings, and bridges have suffered extreme damage. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of homes were also destroyed, and some were even swept away. Tanzania's weather department has warned that heavy rains and strong winds are likely to continue in the coming days. Now in Kenya, the military has been deployed to rescue victims. This was after President William Ruto called an emergency meeting to respond to the flash floods. So far, at least 45 people have died and thousands have been displaced. Large parts of the capital Nairobi and other major towns are underwater, which has sent residents scrambling for shelter.
We are at a loss for where to begin with our current situation. We lack both food to feed our children and clothes to wear. Our utensils have been washed away and our homes are filled with mud. Some areas have even lost their iron sheets. We are stranded and unsure of what steps to take next. We desperately need assistance.
The floods come on the heels of months of drought that had left millions across Kenya facing acute food shortage. Kenya's meteorological department has now warned against the breakout of diseases such as malaria. In Burundi, people are struggling to cope with the aftermath of torrential rains. Thousands have been displaced, while many schools and homes have been damaged.
Since last year, the rain and the water levels have been rising here. Little by little, the land is getting waterlogged. Now, it has reached this level and we have never seen it this bad. It's terrible. It's the first time I've seen it like this in my lifetime.
The relentless rains have pushed up the level of water in Lake Tanganyika, which has further caused chaos for communities living along its shores. Climate experts say flooding in Burundi and elsewhere is due to extreme weather conditions like the El Nino weather phenomenon. El Nino is a climate pattern that's associated with causing unpredictable weather worldwide. While in some parts of the world it brings severe drought, other parts suffer catastrophic rainfall. Analysts add that while climate change may be a trigger, improper infrastructure and land planning are exacerbating the situation in East Africa. Now, as residents deal with nature's fury, the devastating floods only underscore the need for an urgent response to mitigate the impact of climate change on vulnerable communities.
Now let's turn to China, where days of heavy rains have swollen several major rivers in the south of the country, which are now threatening to flood, forcing the evacuation of tens of thousands of people. Weather forecasters in Guangdong have called the situation grim. The area is prone to flooding, but state media reports that water levels are at their highest for half a century. Well, let's go live to our correspondent based in Beijing, Laura Bicker. Hello to you, Laura. Tell us more.
Well, officials have been monitoring those water levels overnight. Now, what happened really was days and days of heavy rain plus localised storms, which included large lumps of hail falling from the sky and even reports of a tornado. Now, that has swollen what were once gentle rivers into fast-flowing torrents of water in some places. Now, you mentioned there that state media had described the fear as a once-in-a-half-century event. Now, after monitoring those water levels overnight, they feel, certainly at this stage, that fear has gone away for now. However, they are still watching as the rain falls and they are still monitoring those river levels. 11 people remain missing. Rescue teams are on the ground. They were dispatched early because this is one of the most populated provinces in China. 127 million people live in Guangdong. Around 60,000 people have been evacuated, taken to safer ground as those floodwaters continue to expand. There were a number of rescue efforts that were unfolding on social media where water was coming underneath someone's car as he tried to get out. Others showed these massive waterfalls coming into their villages. There have been a number of landslides which has cut off roads and major highways. Schools are closed and electricity supplies have been disrupted. So although the rain is beginning to stop for now and the water levels are going down, there's still a lot of work going on in Guangdong to solve some of the issues that this flooding has caused.
And what is the weather forecast looking like in the days ahead? Because of course, you know, if more rain comes, this will exacerbate this already very challenging situation.
Well, it is looking like it's going to be a drier few days for Guangdong as this cleanup begins. This is an area that's very prone to flooding. They've already had one flooding event this month. In fact, they say it's the earliest it's ever happened. And I think when it comes to these kind of weather events, China is getting very used to dealing with climate-related events. Now, of course, some of these events are one-off. It could have happened anyway, but many are being monitored to see if they are being caused by more climate change. I think certainly the Climate Change Association here in China fears that these weather-related events will become more common as the years progress.
Catastrophic flooding in Brazil has claimed the lives of at least 78 people. More than 115,000 people have been stranded without food or water amid flooding from storms over the past few days. Now, the downpours affecting more than 2/3 of the nearly 500 cities in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, which borders Uruguay and Argentina. The rain has also triggered landslides and the partial collapse of a dam at a small hydroelectric plant.
You can see how far the eyes of Jesus Christ can reach. Yes, even in our situations. This is to remind us that Jesus Christ sees it and He is concerned about it, to grant us solutions to our problems. Do not forget, this channel is all about Jesus Christ. Keep watching God Voice TV for the salvation of souls.